Hi, everybody. I'm Tracy Swedlow. Welcome to Televisionation. It could be currency, but it could also be breakthrough, because I know Chris Knight in front of you, who is the CEO of Gusto TV, is going to have a lot of very interesting things to tell you about that are going to be innovative. We have so much to cover here. Chris, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
We enjoyed having you on several sessions at TVOT. You were very active. I was so thrilled to bring you guys there, or you guys brought yourselves, but to have such a strong channel devoted to food. You founded this network, is that correct?
Yes, 10 years ago.
And you are in right now. Where are you right now?
So I am in Gusto World Headquarters in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. So for those of you who don't know where that is, it's close to Montreal and left of Toronto. And we have our studio. We have our studios down there. Our post is down there. All of our marketing and everything is over there. We do everything out of here.
It's the capital, correct?
It is the capital city. That is correct. Yes, it is.
Geography.
Geometry.
Okay. Okay, so why don't you define this channel for us, because you do everything. You do streaming, you do live, you do fast.
We do.
How would you define the Gusto TV offering, other than the most intense ASMR channel of all time?
So Gusto TV is the world's best food channel. And I think what makes us a little bit of a white buffalo is that everything that you see on the channel, we produce ourselves. So whether we're shooting around the world, now that we're almost out of COVID, we're back to shooting in the field, or in our studio facility, we create 100% of the content that you see on the channel. Gusto is currently available on, I'm going to say 52 platforms. 40 sets, somewhere around there, in 162 countries. A couple of months ago, we launched the Spanish language version throughout Latin America, and now deploying in the United States of America. By the fall, we will begin shooting original content in Spanish, which concerns me a little bit because I'm barely functional in English. So I don't know what's going to happen when we start shooting in Spanish. Smarter people than me will take over.
Maybe call Sofia Vergara.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And also, I believe you translate everything into Mandarin, correct?
We do. We have, I think, about 150 hours now that's translated into to Mandarin as well. And we're looking at doing Portuguese, because, those Brazilians can't speak Spanish like everyone else, but there's 210 million of them. So they are a force to be reckoned with.
It's interesting that you say that, because I used to work in the email mailing list business in the early 90s when email discussion groups were first starting. And the two most talkative groups about culture, lifestyle, food, things like this were Portuguese speaking countries.
Yeah.
And Malaysians.
Wow. Well, Malaysia, of course, has a tremendous food culture as well. It's a great food culture as well. But I didn't realize that they were that big.
It was a strange observation. So now about Mandarin, actually, because I'm actually learning Chinese. I was kind of curious in my non-spare time. Do you have a deal for distribution into China?
We did. We did have a deal for distribution into China. And I would have to get my lawyers in the room to tell you the rest. It's a 2-drink story.
Okay. Right, next time. All right. Yeah. I hear you. It's always prickly trying to bring business into China.
Like it's a tough market. It's a different market. Anybody who thinks that, I'm going to APAC to, launch Gusto or sell my shows or something. It's a very complicated market, not just China. Every country consumes media differently, and you really need to go there and put in some time to figure out what's going on. The US is our biggest market by far.
Uh-huh.
Because smart TVs, whether streaming or OTT, the US is a very advanced market for that, along with Germany, Korea, and Japan. But the US is the most sophisticated market. So the majority of our viewership is there, but it's growing really big in EU. So we're killing it in Italy, Spain, Germany, the UK, of course, and India, Australia, New Zealand. I could go on. But yeah, and it's really great getting viewer mail from all over the world.
They're interested in English speaking television and content about, all of the sort of concept shows that you develop that aren't necessarily Italian oriented. You do have that one show called, what was it called? The Secrets of Spice or something like that.
Spice Secrets, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
well, one
you
of the
don't
things
necessarily,
yeah, no, you go ahead.
Well, I was just curious, to what extent do you feel pressured to develop shows that relate to that particular culture, or are they just really interested in whatever it is that you build for them? Are you dealing with expats? You're dealing with millions of people from Italy or wherever who want to know?
So
what's your audience?
Well, not only are we the best food channel in the world, we're the most culturally diverse food channel, maybe the most culturally diverse channel in the world. I think if you go to our website, or even better, if you go and watch Gusto, you'll see that cultural diversity is the cornerstone to our programming, and we've featured literally practically every cuisine in the world in one show or another. We have a saying here that food is the one true global language, and Gusto speaks all dialects. So we've done food from all over the world. Now, you don't need me to come to India to show you, an Indian consumer of content, how to make Indian food. There's lots of great people in India who do that already. We do have Indian food on our channel, but people who are interested in food and also interested in quality television, because we put a ton of money into our production values, watch Gusto. So we're not going, for instance, to Argentina and to teach Argentinians how to make Argentinian food. We do a lot of Latin American cuisines, but we're in the entertainment business. First we entertain, then we inspire. We don't teach. And the subtext, our editorial subtext is always passion, love, family, culture, joy, celebration, all the different emotional touch points that you get from food. No matter your God, your postal code, or your paycheck, you're at some point in wherever you are, food is going to be part of your day and your celebration, and that, I think, is why Gusto has done well in every market it goes into.
I don't see any other shows from third-party providers. You don't do any of that, correct?
No, we produce 100% of the content. We produce everything ourselves, and we do that for two reasons. One, when we launched, it allowed us to grow the brand by controlling the content that's on it. Two, it allows us to control the costs. As mentioned off the top, I'm speaking to you from Canada, which has exceptional media tax credits. But three, we're foodies here. This is a building full of foodies. And making content, making shows is our great passion. And so, I guess we're just being a little bit selfish and making everything ourselves because we just have so much fun doing it.
But you don't necessarily hunt down new rising chefs on YouTube and bring them in or sponsor their shows, I'm just kind of curious because we definitely look across the spectrum of things here, and my husband has found some interesting chefs online, but
yeah,
I'm not quite sure if that's part of your business.
So we have a full-time casting person who just is constantly looking for new talent, and also we get tons and tons of people submitting tape or reels or something to us from all over the world. Whether you're a chef or like your husband, self-taught, what we're really, really looking for is passion. We're looking for passion and the ability to reach through, the dead doll's eye of a camera and make an emotional connection with somebody somewhere in the world that you'll never meet. And that is a unique skill. That can't be taught. I mean, we put people through boot camp. We teach them all the ins and outs and secrets of what we've learned over the years and stuff. But that ability to make that connection is far more important than what cooking school you went to, for sure.
I mean, people always look to sports and music as evergreen TV, but right. Would you say that a food channel is also evergreen? I mean, maybe I'm giving you the answer.
Well, it seems to me like I mean, so you're absolutely right. So, for instance, when we launched, we decided we're not doing competition shows. Food Network does competition shows, so why go to all this trouble just to do what the other guys are doing, right? So, we stay away from doing competition programming, and we try and figure out ways to tell stories through food, which gives the programming a bit of an evergreen quality. Once you've watched a contest show, and you know who the winner is, anybody who airs them, whether it's Food Network or a big shiny floor on a major flagship network, they're going to tell you that the second viewing, the audience drops by 90%. So you don't have an opportunity to monetize the cost of production over multiple plays, even over multiple years when you're doing competition shows, which we have an opportunity to do. So if you look at something we made 4 or 5 years ago, it looks just as fresh as something that we're making now. By the way, we shoot everything in 4K and have been doing so for 10 years to, again, add to the future-proofing and evergreen quality of the programming for when the 4K actually becomes a thing. Remember when HD was a thing and everybody ran out and got an HD TV? How come you guys aren't doing that with 4K TVs? Come on, let's go.
They're going to jump to 6K or 8K all of a sudden.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Now, I'm kind of curious what your top shows are, but we have so much more to discuss. I want to talk about all the innovation going on over there, and we're going to talk about strategy for distribution and the advertising market. So stay tuned for all of that. But top shows on your network are what? The show about DNA, which I find completely, utterly fascinating.
DNA dinners.
Or what are those top shows for you? Or what's your favorite show as well?
Don't make me pick amongst my children. DNA Dinners is a really cool show and has just been a hit everywhere. We've deployed the show, where we take somebody who's not sure of their background, we swab them, give them a DNA test, and then the balance of the episode, we reveal their cultures, where they came from through food. We explore it for the food. And then they cook for their family at an end, and their family has to guess. So it's got a really nice story arc to it. Lots of great food. There's a big reveal, at the beginning of every act. So there's a cliffhanger. So it's got a nice rhythm to it. That's a really fun show. We just finished shooting a show that's really zany called The Wizard of Sauce, which is a studio-based show that's a tremendous amount of fun. I don't know. I love doing them all. They're really good. But another thing that makes Gusto a little bit different than some of the other channels is we have a hard cutoff at 30 episodes. Traditional television programming dictates that when you find something that works, you do it to death. Like the world really needs season 24 of Big Brother. But we have a 30 episode cutoff. If the host is fabulous, we'll put the host into a different show. But because we produce all the content, we want to switch it up and try different things and keep our audiences engaged and watching. We're a very sticky channel. When people turn us on, they leave us on. I think on Samsung US, I'm going to say, don't quote me, but I'm saying that I think it's like an hour and 17 minutes is average view time. So it's the sort of channel that you leave on once you've turned it on.
About the Wizard of Sauce, because that's where some of your innovation is happening.
Yes.
You made some announcements recently in the last few months about your use of AI. You've been thinking about it. We're going to talk about the One Big Recipe project. But as far as Mr. Sauce is concerned, the Wizard of Sauce, I mean, I can repeat what the concept is, but supposedly you're going to have characters, correct? But acted by a gentleman named Kyle.
He's the host of the show.
Tell me what this is about and why you feel it's necessary to innovate, and or how this will benefit the viewers, or if it, is this making it fun? Is there ways to monetize? Well, what's the concept behind doing all of this innovation?
We've always been really enthusiastic early adopters of new technologies. So we started off 10 years ago as an old-fashioned pay TV channel on cable and satellite. And as streaming technology came out, in 2016-ish, so we pivoted. We stopped. We have a distribution arm. We stopped selling our shows to other broadcasters, and we went hard into streaming tech. And then if you watch our shows, we use QR codes in practically every block, because when people are watching, they can hold up their phone from 9 feet away, and in real time, we push them the recipe of the dish that they're watching, which is the beginning of a conversation with the viewer, viewer experience, viewer loyalty, and it's the beginning of the conversation. It's the first step in what will eventually be our e-commerce business. So when AI came out, we jumped on it. We jumped on it right away because we're always looking for new things and new ways to entertain our audience. So I think we were certainly the first food channel, maybe the first channel, to actually have AI generated characters in the show. And there are 3 different characters. And Kyle, who's the host of The Wizard of Sauce, we put him in front of a green screen and he read from a teleprompter, these 3 characters. So we did use a human being and pay them. And then we modified Kyle's looks and his voice using a number of different AI platforms to create these completely different characters that don't look like him, sound like him. So when the viewer is watching, they're seeing these animated AI created characters and they don't know it's Kyle until the credit roll at the end. So we're now looking at different ways of using that to create new characters and new ideas. We're exploring, really excited about exploring with AI what we're calling nonlinear narrative, which is a 2-drink story. But we think opens up storytelling in a whole new way. We're experimenting with different AI platforms to create the face of Mother Nature. What does Mother Nature look like? And it's, if Mother Nature had an actual face, what would she look like and what would she sound like? And we're experimenting with that, because I would love at one point to have somebody on a set doing something and talking to Mother Nature. So
that sounds like the old like puppet shows they used to have in the 1950s, where you would interact with a puppet.
Yes, absolutely. There's no question, except you already know what the puppet's answer is going to be, because it's all scripted, right? And whoever's doing the puppet is reading from a script. What we're interested in is nonlinear narrative, where we actually make a show where we have no idea where it's going.
So the AI is going to answer the AI.
Yeah. And so we're training ourselves and we're training the AI to have a conversation. And then we're using other AI to develop this face that represents, warmth and love and nurturing and caring and nature and passion, and is non-racially specific. It's a really cool process that we're going through right now. We're also going to start using mocap suits on set and creating characters using mocap suits. So we have a show coming up in the fall, if we can get all the tech straight, called Cirque du Soleil. And it's an Italian it's an Italian opera clown.
That one up. Put that up. Cirque du Soleil.
Cirque du Soleil. A lot of our shows start off with a corny show name, and then we work backwards from there. So, like the Wizard of Sauce. All right, let's do a show about sauces, right? And so it's been really so Cirque du Soleil has 2 clowns. Saturday morning cartoon clown who does traditional French culinary cuisine, and an Italian opera clown who only sings and never talks. and does Italian cuisine, and then they both riff off of each other and make fun of each other and everything like that. It's so crazy and so out there. We're so looking forward to it, but the tech has to be there, right? Because you got to understand that our competition typically is a multi-billion-dollar, often publicly traded company with more lawyers than we have staff. We can't outspend them. We're not taking out billboards in Times Square. These guys spend more on fridge magnets than our entire marketing budget for the year so far. So we're always looking for new ways to innovate and to bring the audience back and to offer them something new and different, as opposed to something that they've already seen on another channel. And AI is a tool. I know it's a big deal right now with the strikes going on, and people are afraid for their jobs, whether a writer or an actor. And those are real, honest considerations and need to be taken into consideration as AI continues to mature. But it's not going anywhere. Like it's a calculator. It's a fax machine. It's a tool that is going to change the way we do things. And we're really excited about being sort of, first off the boat onto the beach with it.
And you're also doing an application based on your One Big Recipe show, correct? Where you're asking your AI to come up with 4 different recipes for 6. Is that how it's going to work? Or it's going to create it based on all your needs? I mean, I need that just as an app.
Yeah, so we don't use AI for that. So we patented, we just got the US patent on a revolutionary new recipe search engine. That's completely different than, again, anything else that you see there. And essentially, One Big Recipe is a television show based on the principal function of the search engine, which we're now now that we've got the patent, we're now spending the gazillions of dollars necessary, because the algorithm is very, very complicated. The problem with most algorithms are when you go to a recipe, it just shows you, well, you like fettuccine Alfredo, how about fettuccine vongole? Most algorithms are blunt force instruments that only show you whether it's on, a streaming service or a music service or in a restaurant. Like, it just shows you more of what you've already consumed. And ours is more exploratory, more sophisticated. Have you read Rubin's new book on creativity? Rick Rubin's book. He's the music producer. Anyway, in the book he says people don't know what they want; they only know what they've heard. So the easy thing is to just give them more of the same thing, as opposed to exploring new things and new opportunities, which is counterintuitive to a way a lot of television programming is done, which is just keep doing it. But where's the fun in that?
Well, I mean, this sounds like a great app that could then get people excited and then lead them back to the TV show.
Oh yeah, no, it's going to be a standalone app. Absolutely, 100%. Yeah, it's we're just about to hit beta testing now, for sure.
Well, it's pretty cool. I'm happy to beta test for you.
Okay.
Or not, whatever. Okay, so let's talk about, any other things that are coming up that you're excited about that you could hint to that you haven't announced, or like what would you do if you could?
As I mentioned, we'll be getting into e-com.
I've been waiting for that for a long time. All of these broadcasters and streaming operators, they just seem to be missing the elephant is not in the room. Although I see little pieces of news that people are doing interactive streaming and interactive ads and this and that, and of course NBC embraced Shuffle. But we've been talking about T-commerce, for a long time, and it seems like a food channel would be the perfect place to explore that.
The food space is perfect for this, because if we do our job well, and we do our job well, we can reach you as a viewer at a physiological level. We can make your pupils dilate, we can make your mouth water, we can make your tummy rumble. We make you hungry. And we are seeing in the thousands and thousands and thousands of people going, damn, that looks good, and downloading the recipe, right, in real time. And then they take their phone and they go to a grocery store and they buy the ingredients and they go home. And if your family likes that, we've become part of your life. But right now, we're creating a need. We're leaving you at the grocery store door. So we want to be part of filling a need. We're not trying to sell you something that you don't want. We're filling a need that we've helped created through an entertainment vehicle. And by e-commerce, I mean, I don't mean, getting a transaction fee because you can get a coffee maker or something on our website. We're talking about bespoke ingredients. We're talking about delivering food items and partnerships with bricks and mortar retailers, and regionalizing, hyper specific regionalizing, the different offers and the different food opportunities. We're in conversations with co-packers right now, this big sort of ghost kitchen co-packer that has industrial kitchens in business parks in the top 20 airports or near the top 20 airports in the United States. So that's the sort of big picture thinking
there you go.
that we have for e-com. So we're really excited about a partnership that we have with Xperi and BMW. Starting in September, our content will be available in new 5 Series BMWs in Europe, and then by next year, all over the world. There's going to get to be a point where you're watching this beautiful 4K content in your car, and you say to the car, I want to make that. And the car's nav guide comes up and says, okay, there are 3 grocery stores between here and your house. Do you want to stop at one of them and pick up the groceries because this OS will let them know and put all the stuff together? Or would you prefer to have it delivered by a drone to your house and it'll be there when you get there? It's extending the relationship with the viewer. As BMW anticipates moving to driverless cars, they're really smart to get out ahead of all of this. But it's starting something in your home, moving it into a car, getting to your destination and continuing it on there. And if you have the recipe on your phone and you go into the grocery store, they scan your digital wallet automatically. So if it says, if you go to this store, you'll get $5 off on all the ingredients, and you do. But now we have the capacity to start to think about extending this beyond, just as a lean back experience where, content is interrupted by ads.
When you were at TVT, or maybe before, did you take a look at all of the sessions revolving around ATSC 3.0? Or is that something you've been digging into?
We're digging into it. We think like we're so up on next, like I said, we're always looking for new tech, right? We think that it's not a 2024 thing, maybe not even a 2025 thing, but it has the potential of being as powerful and as proliferate as streaming is now. There's great opportunity there. It's just the uptake, the same as 4K TVs. People have got to get the hardware into their homes, to make it work. But we're talking to all the big guys in the United States right now, and hoping we can work with them and they can use us as a guinea pig and move in that direction as well.
We'll talk to Anne over at Pearl TV.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, maybe offline. Okay, anyway. I mean, this actually puts you in direct, it puts you in a place where you could, like you said, exist inside some of these driverless cars or other types of vehicles, where people could say, hey, I'm hungry for something, and then you could recommend a show or something that tells about a restaurant nearby. They could then deliver them to that restaurant. So you become like a journey experience, not just watching television, but you become a full-on entertainment, immersive service.
Yeah, I mean, we're we're also working with Alexa about having our content, our short form content from Alexa. And if there are now fridges that are available that have 4K screens in them, and we're talking to those manufacturers And those fridges can also monitor everything that you have in your fridge and give you a running list of ingredients that you need to buy. The monitors are 4K and beautiful. Just getting out of just a screen and getting into deploying content in other ways is really exciting for us. We have a saying, we don't care where you watch us, just as long as you watch us. And the tech is coming.
It just sounds to me like you have so much fun there, just working on a day-to-day basis, and you're involved, and you guys are all committed. It's great to hear that. Okay, let's move into some of the business issues that we wanted to bring up, like distribution. You have so many ways you're offering this content, and FAST is obviously a very, very hot topic at the moment. I'm sure you're watching all the different trends and the different subscription services that are losing a huge amount of subscribers. People are moving to FAST. What do you think is your biggest strategy as far as getting the content to the viewer?
Well,
what's the biggest opportunity going forward for you?
Streaming is at a tipping point right now. It's great technology. As I said, we were super early adopters. Look, when we launched Gusto in 2013, it was always our ambition to bring the channel to the world, right? But prior to streaming technology, that was the domain of really big multi-billion-dollar companies who would go into a new market, invest a gazillion dollars, and wait for the market to mature. We couldn't do that. Bird time on a satellite was way too expensive. And so streaming technology sort of democratized things. We couldn't get into the United States because there are 4 or 5 gatekeepers, and it just wasn't economically feasible. You're our biggest market now. We're opening an office down there as soon as I can get the stuff signed, and our sales team is being launched down there as well.
New York or LA?
New York. It's just closer. So streaming opened up the world and democratized it. It's going through growing pains right now. Does the world really need the Baywatch channel? So it's going to be interesting to see how subscription-based services survive, because people are saying, wait a minute, didn't I get, this looks like my cable bill, and I got all this stuff that I'm not watching, and it's just as expensive as it was when it was cable. FAST is a solution. We're really happy with our platform partners, and but we're also starting to see some of the bad practices from conventional television being imported into the FAST business. And
can you be specific, please?
I think I touched upon this when I was down at your show in San Francisco. One of the biggest challenges with, not all, but a significant number of platform partners, is the lack of sharing of analytics and metadata. And that's a big problem. There are now that a lot of these platforms are established, importing programmers who used to work in conventional television. Again, not all of them, just some of them, who are bringing over some of the not so great practices from back in the day in terms of programming and stunts. And there's this thing in television where they kind of a bit of a zebra mentality, a herd mentality. Don't stand out, low lions will eat you. So small companies like ours, small companies innovate. Small companies try new things and change because we have to. Can't outspend you, so we got to try new and different things. So we're kind of at a point right now where streaming, is I'm trying to be careful in how I phrase this, but there are a lot of problems in terms of relationship between publishers and platforms. And I think we all recognize that. You had a number of panels about that. And I think everybody recognizes it, but everybody's trying to figure out a way to move forward in a manner that everyone's fiduciary is taken into account and taken into consideration. I'll give you an example, okay? Back when we were a conventional television channel, we subscribed to the same rating service as everyone else, Numeris in Canada, Nielsen in the United States. Now, all of us knew the rating services were crappy, but it was the same crap for everyone. And we could go out and we could say, here's a show that's a hit with suburban housewives on either coast who are left-handed and have 2.3 kids. We can't do that anymore. That level of granularity and that also affects our programming decisions as well. So there has to be, and because the tech and deployment of the tech has happened so quickly, we're all making it up as we go along. So we have to give each other a bit of a break, you know, and try and figure out a way to make this better. It's really great and also a little bit scary that the majority of the advertisers on Gusto, we have about a 98% fill rate right now with a really great CPM, don't even know they're advertising on Gusto. It's programmatic.
Well, yeah. I was talking to somebody last week about, you know, the old question I ask everybody: why are these ads playing over and over again, the same ads in the same pod? Well, it's because there are so many providers who are delivering that same ad. They don't actually know, and all of these ads are titled differently, and so there's it's too difficult to control the flow of that, to know where it's going. They're not tagged properly. It's the lack of transparency and the enormous amount of siloization is, I think, what you're referring to. Would you say?
Yeah, a little bit of that. You know, if I had my choice, I would run Gusto everywhere ad-free. No ads, no ad pods. If I could do that, if my partners would allow me to do that, and I'd integrate ads, I'd integrate ads directly into the program. Directly into the programming.
Why not do that now already?
Well, because there's ad pods and we have revenue shares with our platforms, and there's breaks that, contractually we have to put the breaks in. And to me, this was, listen, if you've seen me on one of your panels, I said that the very first television commercial ever was July 1st, 1941, New York City. Baseball game, local New York TV channel. Bulova watches. Yeah.
I knew that.
America runs on Bulova time.
We have been monetizing our content exactly the same way ever since. Right? We put something on our channel that we're pretty sure you're going to like until we interrupt it with something we know you're going to hate and hope that you hang around to watch the stuff that we hope that you liked. Come on, we can do better than that. You don't have to do that, but the technology will evolve and change where that's not necessarily necessary. I look forward to a day. Every conference I've been to, at some point, somebody's bringing up the subject of VX, viewer experience. How do you keep people coming back in a highly fractionalized world? Well, maybe let's stop doing the same thing the way we've always done it, and let's look to innovate and try new and different things. And I know I'm very aware I'm saying that sitting here as a smaller, although multinational media company who can do that. Like, we own all of our content. We make all of our content, so we don't have to go to anybody and ask for permission. There's no royalties. There's no third-party liens. We just do stuff. And it seems to resonate with audiences. So,
well, I mean, I have asked a million of the platform, the LCD platform providers, why isn't there a layer where people can bookmark their ads, or they can say, I'm interested in food, I'm interested in gardening, I'm interested in such and such. And that way, not only do you get much better targeting, but there's a whole layer of bookmarking so that if Gusto wanted to deliver, an ad related to one of your clients, you could deliver that special coupon or whatever it is.
Well,
and
that's
then
pretty
it
cool.
would pop
So
up
what
on the
was the
screen.
answer?
No, streaming makes too much money. There's not enough money. It's too expensive. They're just not willing to innovate on this yet. I don't understand.
Well, I mean,
I bet ATSC hopefully
right?
will.
What?
Yeah, ATSC I'm hoping will change all this because they have interactivity built into the spec.
100%, absolutely. And I might actually get the opportunity to launch a 4K channel.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
So we've gone way over our time, but I'm still curious. So I have a small number of questions. I know you need to go back to your studio.
I do.
Let me ask you this, or we could end right after this, which is there are so many people spending a lot of money on data sharing, on data clean rooms, on attribution technology, on emotional sensory technology. I mean, are you feeding all of that kind of stuff to your ad sales team? Is that necessary for you? How far are you going in studying the rise of currencies and all of that kind of stuff? How important is it to stay up on top of all of that for Gusto?
It's important to us because it's important to everybody else. So we've got to stay on top of it all, whether we feel it's as useful to us as it is to other people. Would I like to know, more granularity in terms of our audiences in different markets? Yeah, I really, really would. But there also ends up being a reliance on data and on ratings and stuff like that to justify decisions that you make about programming or advertising, stuff like that, rather than, and I know people are going to watch this and going to roll eyes, rather than going with your gut. And I know if you're a big publicly traded company and you got shareholders banging on your door every quarter, you can't rely on your gut for everything. But anybody who's been in this business long enough knows that every now and then you got to do that. So all of the different stuff that you were mentioning is important. But every now and then you got to swing for the fences.
One or two more things and then we'll go, which is I saw this morning when I just checked in to look at your channel just very quickly, and it had the edible road trip guy. Yeah. But then there was an ad for Gusto. I think there was like a break or something. And it was the most, speaking of ads, it was the most beautiful ad I think I have ever seen, which was for Gusto that you guys made. And I just wanted to compliment you, which was the very slow making of an ice cream sandwich covered in tutti.
With the sprinkles.
Sprinkles.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I can't remember who the first platform we were up with, but at an ad break, if you don't have ads to put in the ad break, of course, a lot of times you got this thing with a little counter in the corner that says Gusto will be back, and then there's a countdown or whatever.
Yeah.
And I looked at our channel and said, "Come on, man, we're in the moving picture business. Let's we call it food porn," and so we made tons of this stuff. Thank you.
I think you could just sell that. You could just sell that to people to put on their LCDs at home. Seriously, just like slow moving recipe making, Gusto branded ads for you that people could just stream all the time.
Yeah.
No, another suggestion out there. Okay. My other one final observation, and I don't have any more questions, which is, I may have mentioned this to you before, but Philo Farnsworth, who invented electronic television in 1929 is, and I've been developing this piece for him. Right. His big dream was to show how we lived internationally to each other, because he felt the more we knew about each other culturally, and less war there would be.
Yeah.
But that was his big dream and why he did what he did. Yeah. And so you're fulfilling his dream, and I just wanted to point that out to you because that means a lot to me.
Well, thank you. And it's like I said, so like I think that there would be a lot fewer fights and wars in this world if we went to the General Assembly of the United Nations and pulled out all of those chairs and put in great big tables, and every meeting had to be a potluck. Because if you're sharing food with somebody, you can't be mad at somebody you're having a meal with. You can't, right?
That's such
so
a
there'll
great
be no
idea.
more banging your shoes on the desk and putting those. And why can't they get better earphones? Why do they always have those big things like that? So, like, come on, guys, go to Best Buy, right?
It sounds to me like a show, like the UN food show or something. Let's get a launch show or whatever.
But, sit down, have something to eat. We can work out our problems. Don't worry about it.
There are so many countries that need to hear that. Okay, well, thank you so much, Chris.
Hey, thank you for having me. This has been a lot of fun.
Definitely, I enjoyed it.
Okay.
And now I'm going to have to go get that recipe for that ice cream sandwich. Okay, goodbye.
See ya.
I'm Tracy Swedlow. This is Televisionation. We're talking about people who do good things in the world of television. All right, take care. Bye-bye.